here goes the record. And there goes the encoder. And we're good to go.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Trash Pandas.
Trash
Pandas.
I'm sorry, is this suddenly 1-900 Trash Pandas? Like, what?
Sorry, I get a microphone
to
in front of me
continue
and
it for
I
99
don't
minutes,
know
press
where
1.
to stop.
I love
Okay. Shit. All right. So, I am Lindsay, and here's my lovely co-host,
Lauren.
And tonight we are joined.
And you are both fully recovered from last Friday night, which is good to see.
Can we not talk about that? And our lovely other third co-host / guest, Dave. We're going to be talking about Epstein.
We are.
Episodes 3 and 4. We are wrapping up this deep dive into the black hellhole that is the Epstein pyramid scheme of prostitution and sex trafficking.
For real.
It absolutely is.
In not so many words, I guess.
There's literally no other way to describe it.
It's horrific. So here's your trigger warning. If you're triggered by sexual assault and sex with minors or prostitution,
douchebag old rich guys, or whatever.
Rich guys.
Skip this episode.
Politicians or old rich guys paying off politicians. Here's your trigger warning.
Or having blackmail footage on politicians. However you want to look at it. It's
also a suicide or not. We don't know. But here's your trigger warning.
All right, so let's just dive in.
Episode 3, my title for my notes is just what the fuck. Like that's, I feel like that's an accurate summary.
I feel like the entire thing should have been called "What the fuck."
Right.
This entire
You're not wrong.
thing has been crazy.
But yeah, but honestly, my favorite part kicks off right off the bat.
Yes, I wrote so many things about this.
So the attorney, who's the guy behind the class action lawsuits and all that stuff, finally gets Epstein to sit in for a deposition, and the very first question he asks him is, "Sir, is it true that you have an egg-shaped penis?"
Okay, wait. Here is my absolute favorite part. So the attorney is showing a video of the deposition behind him, and the title of the video is it true, sir, you have an egg-shaped penis?" That is the title of the deposition video. It is amazing.
Well, and because it didn't get any further. Like, that was immediately the end of the deposition. Epstein rips his mic out and gets up and walks away.
Yeah.
Like, that was,
So it was a blow to his ego for sure.
Oh, my God. Well, okay, so Spencer Coven?
Yeah.
Okay, so he wanted to get under his skin, so he hired some psychologists to kind of study him in previous depositions and to see, all right, how can I really just
knock him off his game,
rattle him. And so the psychologist said, which we all knew, and we said in the previous episode, he's narcissistic, he has no empathy, and he's a master of puppets. He is a master of his own world, and the second that you try to take any kind of that control away from him, that's going to rattle him. So he purposely is asking questions to piss him off, and boy, does it work.
I mean, let's be honest, it's the lawyer equivalent of a sport fuck. Like you just know it's not going to go anywhere, but you might as well have fun while you're doing it.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's it.
I love it. He takes off the mic and he tries to leave, and they were talking about how
that was the best part, is the lawyers are like, oh wait, so is this over now? Like,
right. And his lawyers are going, sit back down, sit back down.
Yeah.
And so he always has to be, like, what they said is he always has to be the master of his domain, and he wants to control his world.
Not to be confused with
all
the Seinfeld
times.
episode. Not to be confused with this. But no, so then they dive right into this sweetheart deal that he's managed to get through all the conversations with Acosta.
Yeah, so back to Palm Beach 2008, right, with Michael Ryder.
Yep. And so he's sentenced to there's nobody knows about this, and all of a sudden there's like a court date, and he gets this deal where he gets 18 months, guaranteed immunity for all named and unnamed co-conspirators.
That was crazy. When I saw that, I was like,
how
do you get away
possible?
with doing that?
Everybody was like, who the hell gets this kind of deal? Like,
Right.
nobody
That is
understood how the hell this
insane.
happened. Oh, and by the way, from both state and federal prosecution.
Oh, good.
Well, what Michael Ryder also said, which I thought was so crazy, is he's like, information was not flowing from the FBI to our office, which was in Palm Beach. He was like, it was deemed an uncooperative investigation by the FBI.
Oh yeah, I think the
And-
exact quote was,
yeah.
"This isn't a cooperative investigation. This is our show."
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Like see yourselves out. We've got this from
Right.
here, boys.
So and he literally pleads to only 2 charges. One is 1 count of prostitution or soliciting prostitution,
Yeah.
and the other is
Procuring a
Procuring
minor.
a minor.
solicitation of a minor for procurement purposes.
Right.
Yeah. Now, so for those who have listened to the first 2 episodes, you already know there's at least 50 girls
Yeah.
that have been through
Yeah.
this situation before. But honestly, my favorite part, honestly, like the thing that almost made me throw my remote through the window or through the TV screen, was when a local newspaper reporter gets Epstein to do an interview with him after this is all done, and Epstein acts outraged
Yeah.
that he's been forced to plead guilty to this. He was like, "Oh, my lawyers did a shitty job.
Yeah.
This is like the equivalent of a jaywalking ticket. Like this is nothing. This is like, why
It
am I
should be
even
a
being
$100 ticket.
why am I even
Yeah.
getting persecuted like
That's
this?"
what he said. He was like, in New York City, this is $100 fine.
Right.
And so I am being persecuted.
He was even saying like, oh, if you look at these other people that have been, charged with these types of things, I actually have a more severe charge. Like, I'm getting a more severe punishment for this.
So here's the thing. Like we all know, like if you get busted going like 90 and a 55, they'll write you the ticket for like 65 because just shut up and pay the ticket. But it's not as bad as we know it was. But you know what? We're going to let you plead out to something lesser. Like, I mean, and that's just a common, that's just how life works. So if that's what you actually finally pled out to, dude, everybody knows that you did worse than that. So, but this is when the guy behind the class action lawsuit gets into this whole Victim Rights Act.
Brad Edwards.
Yep, which is a real thing, and the Victim Rights Act says that any victim of a crime has a right to confront the person who victimized them in a court of law, and that this little sweetheart deal. Like I said, again, there's no cooperation from the FBI. There's no cooperation from the state's attorney general. There's no cooperation from anybody. The only reason why the attorney finds out that this court date is even happening is because somebody makes a phone call and says, "Dude, Jeffrey Epstein's getting ready to walk into court. Isn't that somebody you're dealing with?" So he rushes over there and sees Epstein going through security with his fleet of lawyers and all that stuff, and witnesses the court proceedings and sees all this stuff happening. And he's like, no. But there's nothing he can do at that point. So he files this suit in federal court that basically says, hey, no, this is all illegal. That entire deal has to be voided. Like, this is bullshit. And oh, by the way, subpoenas all the emails with the state's attorney general's office and the FBI, finds out that they've been conducting what they call ex parte communications. And like, oh no, don't email me at the office anymore. Here's my Gmail account.
Yes, I literally wrote Alex Acosta, SOB. They were not only emailing on Gmail, but they were having like their meetings at a Marriott hotel.
Yeah.
Like, it was so super secretive, and the way that
it's just
Epstein's attorneys were
like, there's no other word for it. It's
right.
slimy.
It's so slimy. It's so disgusting. And I can't even believe that this happened, and it took so many more years after the fact.
Yeah, like,
to get
because again, keep in mind,
that was in 2008.
Keep in mind, originally, because I want to make sure we keep hammering this timeline home. Original FBI report, 1996.
Yeah.
These court proceedings, 2008.
Yeah.
When did most of you hear about Jeffrey Epstein? 2018.
Yeah, I was about to say 2017, 2018.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So he was, like you said, he was granted, or all of his people that he was
And like I said, that whole thing about named and unnamed co-conspirators.
granted immunity, and then he got basically the jail out of free cards where he was able to leave when he wanted to leave.
He was on work release.
And he was on work release for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
And I almost felt bad for the warden, like, because they interviewed the warden of the jail.
Yeah.
And he was like, guys, I got to be honest, we weren't prepared to deal with this. Like, this is not a situation we're used to.
I don't feel like most like prisons and jails and stuff would be prepared for something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think that they definitely need to like change some stuff and do some extra.
Well, what that shows about our jails, which is so fucked up, is that they're used to dealing with people that are poor and that they don't have the means to do the things that Jeffrey Epstein is doing.
Right.
Like, they were saying the paperwork involved for Jeffrey Epstein to even file for like the work release and all of that, like, that is above most prisoners' means.
But they said like technically speaking, like, he filled out all the right paperwork.
Well, yeah, because he had the attorneys to do
because he's got a friggin' dream team.
Ton of money.
Yeah, exactly.
He can pay for all those attorneys.
Well, I mean, let's all be honest. That's the real golden rule. It's he who has the gold makes the rules. That's how that works. But yeah, so then they dive back into the deposition again, and this is where we hear about the 3 12-year-old girls
from France
that were flown in from France as a birthday present.
Their parents sold them. Yeah.
12.
Like, and
12
what's
years
so
old.
disgusting is they show the deposition of Jeffrey Epstein. He's like, I would love to talk about this.
I really would.
I would
really like to answer those questions.
But my attorneys tell me that I can't. Shut it,
I plead the 5th. And doesn't he even like
the 6th?
Don't they even say
and
like
14th,
you're pleading this because you know that you're guilty of these things?
Absolutely. But then his attorneys turn around and go, you can't say that.
Well, no, and that's when he plays the Supreme Court recently ruled that the Fifth Amendment is actually there to protect the innocent.
Right. Yeah, no.
Jackass.
Mm-hmm.
So
not in your case.
Yeah. So and then here's where we meet Sarah Ransom.
Oh my God, I love her. She is such a powerful voice in this.
And she's got such a lovely little
I know,
Aussie accent.
and that may have been where I was sold.
Yeah, between those eyes and that accent.
Oh my God, and her hair, and she's
just
so.
Just take me. Just like, shut up and take my money. I get it.
Right. Like, not to deduce women to their looks, but she is gorgeous. And she's just so well-spoken and articulate about everything she went through.
Yeah, she really was.
And so, but she's also one of the first people that is of age that we meet through all this.
Oh, yeah.
So she is 22 when she gets introduced to Epstein. And this is our introduction to, like through all of this, there's been little comments about it, but this is where we get introduced to the island.
Little St. Jeff's.
Yeah.
AKA Orgy Island.
Pedo Island / Orgy Island. Yeah, the real name for it is apparently Little St. James.
Bill Clinton's second vacation home.
apparently, and here's the thing: if he's guilty, burn him to the ground. But I've always said there's nobody through all of this has ever said they've ever seen anything.
That is true.
Improper
And there have been sightings of other celebrity, Prince Andrew.
Actually, here's a good follow-up, just to flash forward a little bit. Did you catch the news about a week ago where, so apparently the attorneys in the case against Ghislaine have now, apparently there's a 4th pilot that nobody knew about. That was one of Epstein's little proteges. Like, apparently she started hanging out when she was like 14, grew up, and apparently he put her through pilot school. And she became one of the pilots through this other service with this other jet. They didn't know about it until recently, so they just subpoenaed the flight logs from that 4th jet.
Oh my God! No,
so
I didn't.
We might find out about a whole.
So there's even more shit that's going to be on the way.
Oh my God!
But yeah, so there's that. So then we meet Steve Scully.
Oh God, I love him.
Which is an interesting dude. He's funny. He's the dad. He's a dad. He's a dad guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, the biggest the most impactful quote from this whole documentary series actually came from him, in my opinion, when he was talking about his daughters, because he had 13 and 15-year-old daughter at the time. And
his friend asked him this question.
Well, yeah, his friend asked him,
well,
okay, let's back up for a second.
So he's the tech.
Was the security
technology. He's a technology guy. So
yeah.
he's the guy, like,
but he was there to like set up security for technology.
So he basically set up a private cell phone network.
Yeah.
He handled all the connectivity issues.
Yeah.
He's the local resident nerd. Like, that's his job.
He's you, Dave.
He really is. I mean, I'm sure there. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure there was a huge paycheck attached to that job that I don't know I could have said nay to. I'm just saying. And so his friend asked him, and he was like, "Hey, like, how can you work for him, knowing what you know goes on there?" And he was like, "Well, but it's a lot of money." And he was like, "Well, but you have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Would you ever let them go there?" And he was like, "Oh, hell no."
No, he was like, "I wouldn't let my daughters within a 5-mile radius of Jeffrey Epstein." Yep. And he had seen, like, he recalls seeing young girls there. He had said, "I'd been to the island like 100 times." Like,
oh yeah, because he was the IT guy. He was there all the time. And he talks about seeing Alan Dershowitz there.
Yeah.
He's the guy that talked about seeing Bill Clinton there.
Right.
And he said,
Brian
hey, I
Sandro.
saw. Yeah, he said I saw him there for lunch. It was no big deal. Oh yeah. So and then he said, 2004, he remembers seeing Prince Andrew there with this blonde girl hanging out in one of the coves on the island, and she was topless, and they were fooling around,
Virginia
and yada yada
Roberts.
yada. And so, like, and that's how that all came together for him, is when he saw that photo of her. He was like, "Oh my God, that's the girl."
Yeah.
And so then we meet Shanti Davies.
Oh yeah.
Who is, yet again, another, she was 21 at the time, that she gets, roped into this world, wants to, again, common theme, wants to be a massage therapist, winds up getting raped, by Epstein and Ghislaine.
Common theme also, her mother was severely abused, and she saw that abuse firsthand and wanted a better life for herself. So not only picking out the massage therapist, but picking out the woman that had been abused.
Well, you look, that's one of the things that Epstein, and any pedophile, apparently is clearly good at, is identifying targets and then grooming them accordingly.
Yeah.
So, that's a thing. So, and then they dive back into, the whole thing with, the ridiculousness of Epstein's, sentencing, where, so he's got 18 months. He's in a private wing. It's basically an open door policy. He's on work release. He's 6 days out, 12 hours a day. They forced him to pay the salaries of the deputies that had to accompany him. Okay, the entire time he was there, the cumulative total for the salary for those deputies was $128,136. Pretty sure Epstein had that in his couch.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And let's be real, pretty sure. Okay, I will not slander the names of the deputies. I'm not saying this is a thing, but let's be real. If you're Epstein and you have sheriff's deputies hanging out with you, you're probably throwing money at them. You're probably throwing situations at them. You're probably letting them come along for the ride whenever crazy shit is happening. It is what it is.
But we should throw that out there. Like, look at look at our system of justice.
Yeah.
It's not justice.
No, it's not.
We gotta stop calling it justice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and nobody's getting rehabilitated.
Right, exactly.
So then in July of 2009, he's done. He's out. And he gets released. He only served 13 months. And he's supposed to be under house arrest for the next 12 months. Wrong. The keywords there being supposed to be. So, and this is where we get back to the police chief, who now is dealing with these other private investigators and those kind of folks who are literally just following Epstein around, documenting his probation violations.
Oh yeah,
because he's supposed to be
in and out. He's going everywhere.
He's supposed to be under house arrest, and like literally, this one PI is like taking photographs with his phone and sending them to the probation office, going, "Hey, here he is at a hotel in Miami. Where's he supposed to be? Hey, here he is at what are you even doing?" Yeah. And again, you almost feel bad for them. They flash back to the probation officer, and the PO is just like,
And what was the
what
quote?
what were we gonna do?
Right.
Like
well,
what?
the quote was something like, "Oh, turns out like Florida has really harsh penalties for breaking
Yeah.
probation, unless you're Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
Unless you're Epstein.
Unless you have the money to swindle your way out of this."
Mhm.
And this just pisses me off because we see so many stories in the news about people that can't pay bail and they're like constantly like going to jail because they can't pay a fine and they can't keep up with the probation. They can't keep doing this and that. And it's like those people are like petty criminals, like doing like things like selling a
The law
dime
is
bag of
supposed to apply equally.
marijuana.
That's
And
how
I'm
it's
like,
supposed to work.
This guy was literally having sex with minors and was able to walk out of it unscathed.
Mhm.
And here we are, like, these poor people don't have a chance with Florida's probationary
Well,
laws.
which I mean, and not to like diverge too much, but so apparently, if you are caught, if you are arrested while protesting in Louisville, Kentucky, you will be charged $1 million a bail.
What?
That's your bail will be
like
cited
for Breonna Taylor.
but if you actually kill Breonna Taylor, your bail will only be $15,000.
No,
So
yeah, and actually, yeah,
Oh my
I love.
God.
Did you see the thing that I posted that was like the cops were charged for shots missed?
yeah, they were
on Breonna
they were,
Taylor, but not for
they weren't charged
actually
for shooting
murdering.
They were charged for shooting the wall.
Murdering Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, they were charged for shooting
Yeah,
the wall.
they were
That's,
charged for shooting a wall.
Yeah.
But not a human life.
The phrase of the week, kids, is wanton endangerment. That's the phrase.
The phrase of the week is always going to be justice for Breonna fucking Taylor until it happens. Like keep it wild.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Keep it wild.
Keep it wild. Like, I'm serious. Like, it's just such bullshit. I
No,
can't.
yeah, absolutely.
Like, she was murdered in her sleep. And here we are talking about this fucking pedophile that was able to walk around and do bullshit. And she did nothing.
and
she
travel
was
from
sleeping.
state to state.
Right.
And be able to just like go about his life like a normal human being.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
I can't.
While people are like literally unable to go about their lives
Well,
because
yeah.
they don't have one anymore.
Right. And so and this is where we hit
right.
the, so they took, and I believe it's Shantae Davis that talks about the 2002 trip to Africa.
Oh my God. This is
well, which is, and it's, so she's on a plane, one of Epstein's jets with
Chris Rock, Kevin Spacey,
Clinton,
Bill Clinton.
Kevin Spacey, and it's for the Clinton AIDS Foundation in Africa. And she's like, for what it's worth, I didn't see any of them do anything wrong.
Yeah, no, she legitimately said this was the highlight of her life.
Yeah, she said it was just a phenomenal feel-good experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where we get introduced to the ties between Epstein and Harvey Weinstein.
Yes. Oh my
which
I
already know
didn't
about
even know
that.
that was mind blowing. Like, I had no idea with her little sister. Holy shit.
Yeah. So that was a real thing.
The assistant running after her and like, oh my God, I don't even know. Like,
but then
Are you talking about like when she was like standing on the edge of like the island and then like
no, this
Epstein-
was like her little sister was in a hotel in Paris
Yeah.
with Harvey Weinstein. He apparently did something super inappropriate and she came like fleeing from the room. And his assistant came like running after her, basically being like, how can we bury this? Like, how can we make it right?
It'll all be fine. It'll all be fine. It'll all be fine. It'll all be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the cool thing is that we do start to hear the victim impact statements, because this was the thing, like this was the, like basically the whole thing behind the Victim Rights Act lawsuit was that, the problem there is that you don't get to hear the victim impact statements or get to hear them talk. And so we start to hear some of these. And then the last thing in this episode was that, so then we're going back to Virginia Giuffre, who then tells us the story of how she's approached by Epstein and Ghislaine, who says,
magnificent.
We want you
she
to
fucking played that.
We want you to have our baby.
Oh,
so you're going to get knocked up, but then you're immediately going to sign over all the parental rights. And she says, well, I have to think about this. And you've and again, so we're years later now before her first introduction. And she says, well, you keep telling me you're going to get me my massage certificates and all that stuff, and that hasn't happened yet. I want that done before I agree to anything. So they send her to Thailand.
I'm so fucking proud of her for thinking to do that. Because, like, I can't imagine.
Well, and here's the thing. I don't
being
know.
a
I don't know that
victim-
she would have. I don't know that she had this entire plan in her head.
No, she didn't. But that's what I'm thinking. She was thinking on her feet.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, she, like, I think that she just, like, had the smart about her to do it.
Mhm.
I don't think this was, like, a maniacal by any means.
Oh no,
like,
I don't even maniacal. Like, I don't even think she thought through
No,
an entire
no,
escape
she
plan.
didn't. She didn't. But I think that it's amazing that she was like, well, if I'm doing this for you, then you're going to give me what you promised.
Yep.
Right.
And this is what's going to happen.
And so, and that's where the episode closes.
yeah.
Is so she's in Thailand and she's like, okay, and this is
I
where
love it.
I say to hell with this. I'm getting out. And she meets a guy.
She meets her husband.
Yeah, she meets a guy. They get married 6 days later.
Yeah.
And then and he's like, look, just run away to friggin' Australia.
He was an Australian citizen,
Yep.
So he was like, come back with me.
Yeah,
And
so
she was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, so she got married. They got married in this temple in Thailand. 6 days later, and then
And they're
take
still
off to
together
Australia.
as far as
But
I know.
Yeah,
right?
oh, they are.
Can I say what I really friggin' love is she's standing on the shores in Australia and she's retelling the story about how they got married and they go back to Australia. And she says how she called Jeffrey and she told him,
Mhm.
like, I got married and he was pissed. Like, she was like, I could just tell by the tone in his voice.
Yeah,
he
I'm
was
not.
pissed.
I'm not coming back.
And
yeah.
she looked at her husband and she goes, we have to go get him. We have to go get all of
Yep.
them. Like, we are going to serve
Oh yeah,
justice.
the
And-
inner
and
venom
I
really
was
came
just
out.
like, I was like, I have chills.
She
like,
said that she
her-
like gave birth to her first daughter and was
Yeah.
like, I have to. make
yeah,
this
I have
right.
to
I
go
can never
get
let this
them.
happen
This
again.
happened to
Yep.
her.
Right.
And
but
and
I,
that is like so crazy to me. Like when she said that, I like got chills too. I
Yes.
was like, yes, you
because
fucking go
the
after these people
the
and get them.
tenacity and the lack of fear and just like, and yes, I'm sure she was afraid of so many things, but she was like,
Sure.
she threw caution to the wind and she was like, fuck it, this guy is worse than anything else, and I don't want any other woman, girl, child to have to go through what I went through. And she fucking
Was
does
this
it.
also the episode? So I don't have my notes in front of me, so I'm sorry. But was this also the episode where like they interviewed Prince Andrew?
Nope,
and-
that's
Nope,
next.
That's the next
No,
episode?
this is- yeah,
Okay,
so
I
this
will
is-
talk about
So
that
this
then.
is literally the
Yeah, this is
closeout.
right before there. Okay.
Yeah.
And do we take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Yeah,
Are
let's
you?
go
Do you
ahead.
want to?
I don't care. Like,
I need.
then let's take a
Okay,
break.
so we're gonna take a little pee-pee break. We'll be right back, everyone. Just kind of hang out for a minute.
Love y'all.
There we go. So here we are, episode 4, the final outrage.
Yes. I cannot wait.
So, and this is where, so it starts off. We're talking with Virginia about Prince Andrew,
Mhm,
because obviously that's one of the hot topics that surrounded all this.
mhm.
There's a photo of her, Andrew, and Ghislaine
Yeah.
at a house in London.
So damning.
That basically Prince Andrew claims to have no recollection of
I
that
just
photo ever
love-
being taken.
I just love that he was like, they're like, oh, can you explain that? He's like, I cannot. And it's like, if I was him, I would be like, oh, I'm a prince. People ask me for photo ops
All the time.
all the
Yeah.
time. But instead, his response is, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't explain that.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, dude, come on.
And so, as most things go with over the course of this, is basically she's called a former prostitute when she files her lawsuit. The palace denies everything because, well, the Brits are pretty prim and proper, and so anything like this is like just hell on wheels for them. But it comes out during the victims' right lawsuit. Honestly, my favorite moment is, so Alan Dershowitz, famous, very well-known attorney.
Oh my God.
Part of the OJ trial, part of
Yeah.
all this nonsense, everything else. He basically says, she says that I had sex with her, but she won't go on record as saying that. I challenge her to go ahead and say that on record.
Cut to her.
Cut to Virginia
Straight up.
Jeffrey saying Alan Dershowitz had sex with me on multiple occasions.
times.
So yeah, so good for her.
Yeah.
So then, and this is where I think, like, and this is why, we just mentioned in the last part where, you for whatever reason, you didn't hear about Epstein. Like, so like the first
Yeah.
charges were 1996. This all happens in 2008.
Mm.
In 2017, something happens in pop
This
culture,
is what I love.
and the Me Too movement
It's
suddenly
the
hits.
Alyssa Milano tweet that's like, if this has happened to you,
Yep.
hashtag Me Too.
Yep, and it
And
went nuts.
Yeah. And then finally, I feel like the victims felt like, okay, well, now's our time.
Yeah.
Like, now's our time. If anyone's going to believe us, this is it.
So, and there's a reporter from the Miami Herald who on November 28th of 2018 breaks a story. And the story is about the deal that Epstein has made with Acosta. So for those who not, so Acosta was the state's attorney for the federal state's attorney for the state of Florida at the time, who then gets we're surprised he gets a nice little cushy, gets nominated for a cushy cabinet position in the Trump administration. And there are confirmation hearings that take place, and this gets brought up. What a surprise. And he still categorically denies everything. He basically just says, hey, you know what, I rely on my staff to like basically tell me what I should be doing. Like I don't know.
God,
I don't know.
I hate him so much, and his stupid hair. His stupid fucking hair. I can't stand it. But then he's like, I'm gonna step down from the cabinet position.
We're not even there yet.
Oh, God,
no,
okay.
There's still so much more.
Okay.
So then that the best part is the lawyer gets the notification that that sweetheart deal that Epstein got is found to be in violation of the Criminal Victims' Rights Act, and that deal with Acosta is null and void, and basically proves that they misled the victims, and there was a conspiracy to conceal what was going on. And so this is where the New York FBI, so the New York Department of the FBI finally dives in, because again, flashing back 1996, the first complaint about Epstein was made to the New York Police Department and the New York Department of the FBI.
Because if we go back to that, the Ohio police were like, this is out of our jurisdiction.
Well, no, it was NYPD. It was the NYPD said, hey, this happened in Ohio, this happened in Arizona,
but
this is way outside of our world.
You think FBI, federal, like this should just why are we not communicating across state lines? Why does this have to deal state to state? Like this is federal.
You would think.
You would think.
You would think, So the NYPD and the FBI get together, and they start diving into both Palm Beach and Los Angeles. And so this is where we find out that in July of 2019, flashing back. So there's a complaint against Epstein from Malibu, or in the city of Malibu, where apparently he was pretending. This gets back to
with the model.
He's basically for a while there, like, because he had the relationship with Les Wexner. He was pretending to basically be a talent scout for Victoria's Secret, and gets this model back in a hotel room and does what he does. And she files a complaint that yet again gets buried. But then we flash.
And she files a complaint immediately.
Not years later,
immediately.
No statute of limitations. It happens immediately.
She immediately files a complaint about it.
Then it flashes up to July 6th of 2019, where Epstein is on one of his little jets coming back from France, and he gets arrested at a New Jersey airport. And this is where basically everybody first hears about Jeffrey Epstein. Mm-hmm. Like this is like when he gets arrested in 2019, this is when most people finally hear about this douche and what he's been doing. At that point, a dozen more women joined the class action lawsuits, because they're like, hey, this might actually finally be a thing. And they finally believe that something might actually happen. Because, I mean, up until now, it's all been buried. It's all been whatever. It's all been,
Well, and Harvey Weinstein's being buried at this time. I mean, men are rightfully being buried.
It's a bad time to have the last name that ends in Steen and be an asshole. It's a bad time. So then we get introduced to that we dive a little deeper into Epstein's place in New York, which he describes as a townhouse, but is a 7-story, $77 million home.
Wait, hold on. Wait, let's repeat. $77
$77 million home.
house.
Yeah. So they raid it. The FBI goes in and raids the house. There are, and clearly nobody had tipped him off this time, because there are thousands, if not millions, of pictures found.
Well, okay, so this is where what was her name? Virginia?
Jeffrey,
right?
yeah.
So she was saying, she was like, they go into a room and there's all these old school like monitors stacked on top of each other.
Mhm.
And there's a monitor for every toilet, every shower, every bedroom.
She's like, that's the room I sleep in. That's the bathroom I take a shower in. Oh my God, that's my toilet. What the hell?
He was watching every move inside that place. And so she's
able to take photos of
which,
every move.
well,
yeah,
video, which kind of explains why some shit got buried, because God only knows who the hell he had on video.
Well, and that's what she said. She was like, he made threats to me and said, or he would say to me, people owe me favors and I will never get caught, and
even if I do, it won't matter.
Even if I do, it will not matter.
Because that's the thing. They found
how terrifying
because
is that?
blackmail.
Oh yeah, so they found the pictures. They did not find the hard drives containing the video.
But they also found a bunch of child porn, right?
Oh, that's the pictures.
Oh
yeah. So, but they didn't find the videos, and so that's been, again, just kind of keeping current with this. That's been one of the rumors swirling around Ghislaine Maxwell, is she has those hard drives.
Yeah. Oh.
Or at least knows where they are and has access to them.
Yeah, wait, wouldn't you just destroy them? I mean, after
why?
Or even
why would you destroy them if you have that kind of leverage? Why would you give that up?
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Good
I mean,
point.
because we touched on this the last episode, where it was like when they came into the house, there were wires hooked up for like,
I was home in Palm Beach. Yeah.
Right. But there was nothing there. So we know that things have been moved, and we know that things have been like shifted to other places.
Yep.
I agree with you. Why wouldn't you just destroy that stuff? But at the same time, it's like, if
he's right with the leverage,
exactly,
to get yourself
I
out.
have these things on
get
you.
yourself out of a tight situation.
You can't do this because I have you pretending like you're into it or whatever.
But here's my question: would whatever attorney general that's prosecuting you ever be like, we'll give you immunity if you give us this? Like, I feel like she was too deeply entrenched to ever even offer her
that may be what she's holding out for. And it would, and here's the thing, I don't, as sad as it is to say, I truly don't believe that even if she does have those hard drives, those videos will never see the light of day.
They'll never surface. Yeah,
they will
exactly.
never see the light of day.
With that.
Just because there's too much at stake.
Yeah.
Like that's just a thing. So then we flash forward to the Trump and Clinton denials that they ever did anything wrong.
This was so crazy because that was Ransom. What was her first name? Sarah.
Yep.
When she was talking about, she was like, here's two presidential for the United States. There's two presidential candidates, and I've seen each one of them with Epstein.
Yep.
Like,
right.
And that's the thing. And they're both, they've both been
disgusting.
photoed on the island. They're both in the travel logs.
But then they both also separate themselves by being like, I haven't seen him in 15 years. I haven't seen him in 10 years.
So, yes and no. But so the weird thing is, and this is where, like, again, kind of keeping a little current, when Maxwell got arrested, Trump got asked about her at a press conference, because Trump's always
been a very fine human being.
I wish her all the best. And I was like, okay, so is that a message to her that I got your back, keep my shit hidden?
Yeah,
like that's, yeah. So that, and then we flash back to Prince Andrew, who then goes, dude, this is one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen in history. Like, I don't know if you actually sat down and watched the interview he did with the BBC.
Oh, I saw. Well, I saw what they played on.
Oh no, I went and watched it. So it's also available on.
Okay.
So the BBC, he did it. He sat down and did an interview with BBC. He denies everything. Possibly the funniest part of the entire denial is when Virginia had said, "Oh my God, like we were at this dance club and he was just sweating all over me." His whole thing was, "Well, I have a medical condition and I don't sweat."
but then he actually backed
And then
it up.
he lifts up his armpits, and
he
there's
actually
sweat
said-
stains.
and
He
baloney flop.
actually
Yeah.
said, "Well, I didn't sweat at the time."
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you just suddenly are
Yeah.
able to sweat.
And he's and he's got the what was his name from the Iran Contra thing? Oh shit, I can't remember that. I have no recollection of those events, Your Honor.
Well, it's Bill Clinton.
Yeah. Can you define the word is? Yeah.
But like, here's like the thing about him too is that they were saying like before he had done that interview, there was a bit of like skepticism among
that this
like,
couldn't be
people
real.
That this couldn't be real.
And
but
then he did the interview.
After he did the interview, people were like, "Oh no, he's guilty."
Oh, you did this shit.
He's guilty.
You were
hell.
terrible. Yeah, you were
so
terrible.
I'm like, what fucking PR person was like, "Hey, go
First of all,
do
you're royalty.
Go do this
You're
thing."
royalty. Like, who would be like,
And
go do this?
knowing, especially, I'm
sure.
sorry, like I have followed the royals, and knowing
Same.
how crazy Queen Elizabeth is about like all the shit that
The
goes
public
on
image
and the
and-
public image and
Dude,
all
look at all
of
the
that.
shit that's happened with
Like,
Harry and Meghan.
Right, exactly.
Oh,
That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Like, so who the fuck let him in front of a camera?
Oh, yeah.
To do that?
Well, because
like,
according
are
to-
you kidding
I don't
me?
recall this.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
instead
according
of
to
just
him,
saying something
well,
like,
Like you just put the nail in your coffin.
I checked
dude.
my notes and I was at a pizza joint with my daughter that night. No,
No,
you
well,
weren't.
do
No.
you have a photo?
But,
of
right,
you,
we
bro?
have
You know what I mean?
photographic
Like, come on,
evidence,
guy.
and
but you weren't. Yeah.
Right. Not only do we have photographic evidence, but you have no explanation for it. So you're not even telling us, like you said, "Hey, I'm a royal. I take pictures with a
Like
lot
I said,
of
oh, that was
people."
Lowe's
Yeah,
point. That would have been
exactly.
that would have
If
been.
you would have said that, null and void, we
There
all would have been
Right.
like, "Okay,
There are
I
a
get
million
it."
instances of royals with photos of other people
million,
where you can
right,
just
all the
straight up
time.
say, you know, I have people ask me for a photo all the time.
But
I
then
put my
there's-
arm around them and then I take a photo and I walk away.
Methinks the royal doth protest too much.
Right, exactly right.
That's the
But
thing.
like, what is also so damning to his thing too is Sully.
So and that's So
He's
that's
the one that
so the tech guy
he
Scully
actually saw
is like,
him
yep, saw them together.
with young
Well, no,
with her,
saw him with her.
specifically with
Yeah.
her.
Yes.
And he was like, no, that
So
was absolutely
he's
a
actually
thing. Yeah.
backing up her story. Yeah, that's fucked up.
So and then it flashes forward to Acosta. We're back to him, and this is where the press conference happens. So we're in July 10th
And
of
his stupid hair,
2019.
and he's standing next to President Trump, right?
Yep. Oh yes,
Yeah,
and he's
sure
like, he's like,
Yep.
and he's basically, hey, this is causing way too much
Yeah,
distraction.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and step down.
Yeah, which is
Here's
hilarious.
me and my
Like-
the shining daughters. And
Oh no, this is me in Catholic school when
Right.
I wasn't kicked out, but I was invited not to re-enroll for the following year. Like, let's be clear.
But also, like, so, like, think about all of the fucked up people that associate with President Trump. I hate saying that, but like, think about all of the fucked up people that associate with them, and they don't step down.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah,
What,
because they wait till they get indicted or
what
something else
Alex
happens.
There
Yeah,
has to be something that pulls
Acosta,
them
so right,
aside.
so what I'm saying is what Alex Acosta
was smart
did
because he was like, you know what, let me dip out before shit gets even weirder.
right?
Yeah.
On stuff,
But not
right.
only that, but I'm saying like what he did, he must have known that like he fucked up so bad.
Oh yeah.
That like he actually was a huge detriment
Oh, yeah.
to
Oh for
the
sure.
administration.
And that's the thing. Like so, yeah. So that was the 7:10 press conference, and then 7:12 he resigns. And then the private investigator, dude, I love the private investigator. That like, and it was I can't remember the guy's name, and I didn't write it down, but he's the guy who literally just has
oh yeah,
like just a computer full
yes,
of
yes.
here's these photos, like, and he's like literally here's all of the things that I gave to Acosta. Like this is literally all the evidence I gave to him, and he still gave him that sweetheart deal. F that guy.
And not
Yeah.
only that, I mean, you heard from the Palm Beach chief of police
Yep.
and writer, and he was like, this was the most solid case that we were handing over.
Oh yeah, we were gonna put him
And-
again. Yeah,
right.
let's flash back to
Right. It
We're gonna-
flashed back.
We're gonna put him under the
Right,
jail. Was
right,
the quote? Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, everyone knew this was a solid fucking case.
Mhm.
And still, didn't happen because of your sweetheart deal that you're denying that you
Ever
cut
even
him.
happened.
So
Right.
so we've got Epstein being arrested on the plane. His hearing is scheduled, and this is one that everybody actually knows about. Epstein apparently just keeps offering more and more and more money. Like he gets as high, like he will post $100 million bond. He'll do all this stuff. All the women go.
Yeah.
Like, well, I won't say all, but like
Right.
basically like the 10 key women that we've seen throughout the course of this are
Yeah.
all there.
Yep.
The judge lets them address him
Yep.
and the court. That was that whole Victim Rights Act thing. And they finally get to say, like, hey, and I think it was Sarah who was the one who said, like, look, I know you probably don't even remember me, but this is what you did to my life.
It wasn't Sarah. It was the one who, I forget her name. Oh, I feel so bad for forgetting her name. It wasn't Sarah though, but I know exactly what you were saying. She was like, you don't remember me, but I will remember you for the rest of my life.
Yep.
And it was so powerful. And it was so good.
So then Epstein even offers up $500 million as a bond. But during the raid of the New York house, the little townhouse that he keeps in the city, they find
so quaint.
Yeah, they find in his safe videos of child porn, diamonds, and multiple fake passports.
Oh yeah. Wait, weren't they? Wait, okay. So yeah.
So Skippy had an escape plan.
Yeah. Skippy.
Oh yeah,
He was ready to dip the fuck out.
Skippy was ready to skip.
Yeah, Skippy had an escape plan.
I might have heard this wrong, but were the diamonds all real?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I had something in my head that the diamonds and the passports were fake, and he was trying to like.
Oh, they were the passports were under fake names, but they were him.
Okay.
They were him.
Right.
But yeah, the diamonds were all real. Like he was ready to dip and get out.
Hey, what about the gold standard? Like, why are we dealing with diamonds? I don't know.
Why are we dealing with
because diamonds are a thing.
I'm just saying.
Needless to say, the judge says no bond.
Yeah.
You ain't getting out.
Yeah, bye, fucker.
Yeah. So they put him in the tombs, and this is where things get a little bit weird. It used to be called the Tombs. It's the New York Penitentiary, whatever the hell it's called now. And so we're flashing. So that was on August 10th of 2019.
Wait, not 2009. Was it 2000? Oh my God, it was just last year.
Oh my God, this is okay. Tiger King was only 6 months ago.
Oh my God, 2020 feels like a decade. 2020 is a decade.
30 days has September, April, May, and November. All the rest have 31, except 2020, which has 8,937 days. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
So on August 10th, he allegedly commits suicide. Allegedly. It's alleged.
It out there.
It's allegedly by wrapping a bed sheet around his neck, jumping off the top bunk. And it is. I mean, like, so let's be clear. I want to make sure, because they did a deep dive into the operations of this prison. Like, so the Tombs have always been like the really not good place to be. Like it's been in existence since like the 1920s. It is the cams are frequently broken. The guards are especially the overnight guards are typically sleeping on duty. It's not so like the whole thing about like the cameras being broken and all that shit. Like I get it. Like it's. As an IT guy, like, so I'm sure like the last thing a prison cares about is their IT budget. Like they care about, are the guards showing up? Are the prisoners getting out? Like that kind of crap. So I get it. I don't agree with it, and I'm not happy about it. Because again, like we were just talking about outside, we live in a world where the salon that Nancy Pelosi gets a haircut in has better security footage than the jail that Jeffrey Epstein is getting cut in.
Okay, but like. I know, I have to go back to the fact that he is such a high-profile prisoner that why were we not keeping a better eye on him? And not only... wait, hold on, wait. Not even for the fact that he was who he was politically connected and whatnot, but for the fact that he had so many victims. Like, just the fact that he had so many victims.
I mean, how many times did Ted Bundy escape?
Well,
I'm just saying.
Okay, yeah. Oh, in the 70s? Like, give me a break.
I'm sorry. You think jail technology's really gotten better since the 70s?
Okay, listen. I am telling you, we should have learned some lessons since the 70s.
We should have.
I mean,
but
seriously.
We did not.
I mean, but
we should have learned lessons from Nixon, and yet here we are with Trump.
Oh God, I know. Okay, true story. Fair enough. Okay, but seriously, like that's just what makes me so mad is that it feels like there is some lack of consideration for the victims because
absolutely.
of the lack of security that was given to him.
For sure.
And that pisses me off because if you hear, and we hear from the victims after the fact, after he committed suicide, and they say it feels like an unended story.
Like they will never get their closure.
Like I am never going to get my justice.
Yep.
I'm never going to have my day in court to face him and say, fuck you.
Yep.
And this is bullshit. And why did this happen?
For sure.
And so I'm mad at this on their behalf. Like I can't feel like I'm like, I know what you're saying makes sense, but like it just pisses me off.
Sometimes logical doesn't help. I get it.
No, it just pisses me off.
Well, and they did there was the whole debate about, oh my God, he was on suicide watch. Why wasn't he watch closer? Well, but he wasn't at that point. Like he had been off suicide watch for 3 weeks. And if you listen to everybody that talks about Epstein over the course of this, he is a master manipulator. He is a master of getting people to believe what he needs them to believe in order to make things the way he wants them to be.
I mean, you want to tie it back to Ted Bundy. He's like Ted Bundy.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, the
sociopath 101.
Yeah, like the charming, the narcissistic, all of that. Like he's an a-hole.
Yeah, no, sociopath 101.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And there are a couple levels of failure here, but again, being an IT guy, I can understand some of them. Like not only were the cameras not working, but the backup system wasn't working. And so the footage got lost. And so there was, but again,
okay, so
as an IT guy, I've seen dumber shit happen. And in a shitty jail that nobody's paying attention to, I can understand that being a thing.
But and that's exactly it. He shouldn't have been in a shitty jail that no one was paying attention to. He should have been in a much more high profile place where people were watching his move 24/7. He had too many victims.
Can't disagree.
He had too many victims to say that this was okay.
So, and this is where they dive back into, because they're talking about security footage. They dive back into that video room in the quaint little townhouse in New York City, and basically, every room was wired. Every room has all this stuff. They talk about like everything was going on, and so, but the problem is those videos disappeared. Like those hard drives containing those videos are gone, and nobody knows where they are. But that's one of the rumors is that she has them.
You bitch.
And this is where we meet.
Just give it up, though.
Yeah. So this is where we meet Mark Epstein.
No, she has to use it for leverage. I mean,
yeah.
clearly.
So this is where we meet Mark Epstein, Jeffrey's brother.
Oh my God. I just want to know so much more from him.
Well, starting with how can you possibly be defending your douchebag brother?
Right, exactly. First of all, that. Second of all, what was he like as a child? Did he have a head injury? I need to know all this stuff.
I need to know if he was ever
dropped
as a child.
Did he torture animals?
Did he pee his pants up into the age of 7?
Did he light a lot of fires?
All of these things, right? Like I need to know.
And so he basically Epstein comes in, or Mark Epstein comes in and demands another autopsy after the suicide, and says that and that concludes. And here's the thing: second autopsies, speaking as a huge conspiracy nerd, like I was the biggest JFK conspiracy nerd on the planet.
Ew.
Oh no, for real. When you conduct another autopsy on a body that has already been autopsied.
Yeah.
Some shit is already sideways.
Oh, absolutely.
You're right. So his.
I'm a huge true crime nerd. so that's my thing, and I love that
Same.
shit. And it's always good to be skeptical of the scientific evidence, because we just found out recently that blood spatter evidence is bullshit.
And
So,
Oh, no, that's absolutely a thing.
fingerprint
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying, like,
They
okay,
were saying
so
fingerprint too is also like
yeah.
bullshit.
Right. So, like, of course, there's advances in science that we realize, okay, oh, that wasn't so accurate.
Right.
That's not what we're doing anymore.
So his whole thing, the secondary autopsy finds inconsistencies because of the fracture in the hyoid bone,
Yes.
which is in the neck. So this guy says during a self-hanging, I've never seen this before in my life. Okay, well, but then you get the counterpoint that's from the other guy who says, well, but it actually happens in 20% of the cases that the
Right.
hyoid fracture happens that way.
Just because
So
you
it's
have
not
one
that suspicious.
person
Didn't
doing
he
an
say it was
autopsy.
fractured in 5 different?
3.
Okay.
Yep.
3. Okay. I thought he said like something way more, and that's where I was like, that's crazy to be fractured in that many.
Well,
places.
that was kind of the weird point, is that if you believe the only way this secondary autopsy makes sense is if you believe Epstein tied a bed sheet around his neck and just leaned forward
Right.
to basically
Yeah.
like slow strangle himself. Who the hell would
But
do that?
people don't
No.
like do
No.
that.
If
It's
he
just
jumps
like when
off the
people-
to make
top,
it quick.
if he jumps off the
Yeah.
top bunk, the hyoid fractures the way it fractured.
Right. Well, I thought he said though that it would take more of a force for it to be fractured in that
Nope.
way. Okay.
Well,
As a science nerd, no.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying. I
still
don't know.
20%
Like,
isn't that many.
well,
Oh, but if it
saying.
but if it happens 1 in 5 times, why can't he be the one?
Right.
oh, no, absolutely.
right.
No, you're right. I
You're
mean,
right.
according to data I mean, yes, it makes sense. And like, I don't know. And I'm torn on it. Like, I'm torn on it because he is so. There are so many reasons for so many people to want him dead.
Oh, absolutely.
That it makes sense.
Well, so and again,
Right. It's so
that
high
he
profile.
didn't- right,
and
that
he
so-
has so
didn't
many
do
other
it.
high
well, and so like,
profile
Right.
people.
and actually, I didn't even take notes on this because it was stuff that came out after the fact, and it's not in the documentary, but like we were just talking about outside.
Yeah.
The one weirdness that has never been explained, like, so the video footage has been explained, the backup screwing up has been explained, all that stuff has been explained. The one thing that has never been explained is apparently there was a temp guard working that night
Oh yeah, that's
that
interesting.
that nobody can find any documentation on.
That's so
Like he
fucking weird.
subbed in that one night. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody has any
and he was
paperwork
never
on
back
him,
again.
and he was never back again.
His name
Which is like, come on.
his name is Assassin.
It's literally just assassin.
His name is-
danger.
His
He's-
name is Assassin.
No, he signed in as Andrew Sasson. And
he signed in a Assassin.
yeah, signed in as Andrew Sasson. That was the name of the law. Yeah, no, but no. So that's the one wild card that has never been explained. And this kind of, and this is why I tie this back to the JFK thing, and I keep mentioning the two. Is it is hard. Like, people need, the way our brains work.
We need a reason.
If there is a great injustice, we need a great villain
Mhm,
to go along with
mhm,
that.
Sure.
mhm.
It's hard to reconcile like the end of Camelot and JFK with some dipshit who like sucked at life and had a rifle. So like you've got all this massive evil of Epstein. And so, okay, if his life gets snuffed out, you need a grand conspiracy of people, not just he didn't want to deal with shit and took the easy way out.
You are
I can see that.
you are 1000%
Yeah.
right, and I also have to pick your brain about this JFK conspiracy.
I know. I actually am
'Cause
very.
I'm
I'm very
dying right
interested
now.
in
Oh,
that.
I have all the books. I have all the books. I used to,
We'll have
You
to
are
watch, like, a
so-
JFK.
You are so like one of the most reasonable people that I cannot believe that you believe in a JFK conspiracy theory.
oh no, I believed all of them at one point.
Do you believe that a man walked on the moon?
Oh, absolutely.
Of course you do, because you're a nerd.
Well, no, because you can shoot a laser.
Because you're a nerd.
Well, yeah, you can shoot a laser and bounce it off the mirrors they left there. Like, that's science. You can do that.
Damn.
That's really
Okay,
that's a thing.
but isn't there science to prove that there was a single shooter up in a window?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't
But no. I said I used to be a huge JFK conspiracy nerd.
Okay.
And there's
Okay, we're good
So
now.
we've figured out now that
so for
he
anybody
is
listening,
no longer.
there is a and I actually did an interview with this guy. There's a
I was about to get heated.
oh no,
right
there's a phenomenal book by a guy named Gerald Posner. It is called Case Closed, and he goes through and just annihilates every single conspiracy theory one by one with facts and data and science. And that's what I need in my life. Like I need facts, data, and science.
Same.
And
yes.
so
Absolutely. I
Anyway.
love
Facts,
I
data,
live
and
for
science.
we're
it.
so digressing.
Wait, hold on. Oh, wait, I have to share a story with you really quick. I was teaching today, and I had a student that we were watching something about twins and personality theory and all of that. And there was have you heard about like the triplets in New York that were separated at birth?
Yes, and one of them committed suicide.
Yeah, okay, yes. Okay, so I'm showing them this, and we're talking about the ethics of these kind of experiments on a human being.
Because it was an experiment. It was like
it was
triplets.
and the families had no idea, and the mom had no idea, and all of this, and
they would rock back and forth and stuff.
My student said today, my student goes, "This is when a STEM major doesn't take humanities classes," and I was like,
yeah.
fuck
Basically.
yes, dude. Like, yes. Thank you for proving the point of the importance of taking humanities. Like, yes, STEM is amazing and science is amazing, but we have to think about the ethics of all of what we're doing.
Oh, no,
I think that you and I have talked about it a few times where it's like just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something.
And that's all we talk about because we're doing a whole science fiction thing.
Oh no, so one of my favorite movies ever, Real Genius, one of Val Kilmer's early movies.
Oh my God, Val Kilmer.
And there's a phenomenal line in that movie where they invent this like basically giant laser that can like annihilate people from space.
The death ray.
And Val Kilmer looks at the guy that created it. He's like, dude, well, what is that even for? And he's like, dude, I just created it. Let the engineers figure out a use for it.
Yeah.
Right. The A-bomb. Like, I mean,
Oppenheimer.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
But like it was it was amazing to me that my student picked up on that.
This is personal to me. So I graduated with a biochem degree.
Yeah.
So I did biochem, theater arts, and I played hockey. Shattered my kneecap junior year. There went the hockey dream. Found out what theater teachers made. There went that dream. The only offers I had from the biochem standpoint were from government labs. And I was like, you know what? Ebola's good without my help.
Yeah.
No, I'm cool. Like those are the ethical decisions you have to make that go along with, like, it's not just pure science. So he allegedly commits suicide on the 10th. The weird thing is then on the 18th, so he's dead. All the money is transferred to a living trust in the Virgin Islands.
Oh my God, because he's such a dick.
$377 million gets hidden to make this way. On the 27th of 2019, there is a motion to dismiss the case against him because that's a formality, even though he's dead. You still have to go through this process. 30 women go on record at this proceeding, at the motion to dismiss, because, well, they have to dismiss it against him because he's no longer alive. But 30 women go on record because that's
fucked up.
So it is them going on record that allows their civil cases to still proceed against his estate. And then that's pretty much the end of the actual documentary. So what they added, and I think I mentioned this to you after I watched it the first time, they added a little after shot on episode 4 because this has been out since May or June.
Couple months,
So on July 2nd of 2020, Ghislaine Maxwell is arrested in a little tiny town in New Hampshire that laughably I know where it is.
That is so funny. When you told us that, I thought you were totally joking.
No,
She was like, "No, he's from New Hampshire."
Yeah, no, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, New Hampshire, which is kind of redundant. The entire state still has one area code.
Completely redundant.
And so Maxwell is arrested, and that is still ongoing. And you're seeing all of that stuff kind of play out, and all the legal wrangling and proceedings and all that stuff. But yeah, that's kind of the end of that episode.
Well, I was telling you guys too about like my friend Becky. Hi, Becky, I love you. She had gotten me last year for Christmas a Epstein didn't kill himself ornament. And then this year when Ghislaine was arrested, she preemptively got me a Ghislaine didn't kill herself.
So morbid. I love it.
I love that. But at the same time, it's like,
it's
this
so
is
morbid.
like a real, it's a real thing. And
it
like,
is
these
a real
are people
thing.
that have really been affected by this.
Right. And it's
I don't mean to make
horrible.
light of it or anything like that.
No,
I don't
of
think that
course,
other
but,
people
like,
are trying to, but at the same time, it's like, this is something that like it didn't just happen randomly.
But if I
Right.
can say anything about you and I, no matter what situation we are in, we're going to approach it with comedy.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be like, what is the funniest shit about the darkest thing that we just
welcome to my life.
Look at us with
you
like
know what
90
I
Day
mean? Like
Fiancé.
like anything you have to find light in it because it's so dark it will consume you.
No, I have a rule.
It will consume you.
My basic rule is either everything is funny or nothing is funny.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I can exactly right.
And like I was saying, it's like, look at us with 90 Day Fiancé. It's like I bought wine glasses for us that have like the worst sayings from 90 Day Fiancé.
Right, like the most awful
like
abusive
things, but on the wine glasses, it's funny, like lying bitch.
Nice. So the one follow-up note I made is, so this entire documentary is on Netflix. There is something on Hulu that I recommend people watch as well. And it is called Truth and Lies, Jeffrey Epstein.
Ooh, I have not watched that.
And it's only an hour long. And it is a good deep dive into a lot of the things that are covered in this.
Okay.
And they get into like some of the just some of the background and like some of the oddities in this case that have come out.
It's like just a little bit of extra information about things you already heard about.
It's a bonus episode. But it's absolutely worth watching. I would totally give that a look.
I'm interested. So what I would like to say is next week we'll be wrapping up
90
Day Fiancé for you all. And then the following week we want to do another documentary.
So,
we were thinking is Dave suggested this really good one. What was it called? The Tourist.
I gotta make sure it's the right one. It's called Dirty Tourist or Dirty Tourism or something like that.
Something along those lines.
And it is so I loved the show, and I think there's 3 seasons out now. And basically this guy he travels all around the world.
Okay.
And he lets himself get sucked into every tourist scam,
trap.
Like every tourist trap that you would get wrapped up into.
Perfect.
The other one that I would suggest if you wanted to play is called Hate Thy Neighbor, and it's on Hulu.
Ooh.
Oh, you know what? I think I started watching.
And so
what is that about?
So that is a stand-up comic from London.
Yes.
That basically deep dives in with hate groups for a couple weeks and does an episode about it. So like he hangs out with Nazis. He hangs out with
I started watching that.
It is so good.
It was recommended to me after I watched a documentary called Heckle.
Yep.
And it was basically just about like comedy, comedians who are heckled while they're on the stage. And afterwards it was like, you should watch this. And I started watching it. And it was
so
actually
good.
really good. I did really
honestly,
like
I would
it.
recommend that before the Dirty.
Really?
I really would.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the idea.
Just because it's fascinating to me how many hate, like it's almost sad how many hate groups are out there. But like but the best part about this show to me is there are some people that he has very deep, meaningful conversations with, and he actually kind of gets them to turn the corner.
It was like a anti. I can't remember what the first one was, but it was like oh god.
Because he's mixed. His dad was black, his mom is white.
Okay, did he do a TED Talks?
And he has
about this?
And he has
I saw that.
And he has a big bushy beard.
Yes.
So everywhere he goes, everyone assumes he's Muslim.
Yes.
And so it's
I saw this.
Hilarious to see these episodes.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. Next week, we're just going to focus on 90 Day, and then we'll let you know what documentary we'll be covering in the following week.
So every other week, we will be doing 90 Day, as well as a documentary.
Yes.
If we're not doing 90 Day, we'll do something reality.
Yeah,
just something reality based,
based.
because we know that right now they're on a hiatus just for a minute.
But next week we want to wrap up
we're
90
gonna wrap
Day.
it up. And then the following week, we will do 90 Day or whatever reality show. And then we will do a documentary. And the following week, we'll just do 90 Day. And then every other
or
week.
just another show. Because like I said, I mean, whether.
Reality, documentary.
Yeah.
Reality, documentary.
Reality, both.
Right.
Reality,
so we're going to be doing reality every
Trashy,
week.
something.
Exactly. We'll do reality every week, and then every other week we'll come on right after. You can follow us, and as soon as we're done with our reality segment, we will go into a documentary.
I'm just saying, if it's bonus content, you're going to have to wear lower cut shirts. I'm just saying.
Done.
Okay, perfect. Got it. So okay, we will do it doesn't even have to be documentary. Even.
Right.
It can be trending.
Like I said, just something else. Yeah.
Reality, and then
we
trending.
We want to kind of branch out from 90 Day, and we know that
y'all
do too. So we're gonna provide you with some direction, and we're gonna do some 90 Day, and then we're gonna do something else.
Or even just reality in general, whatever it turns out to be. But we will keep you guys posted on what we're watching. We'll post it on our Facebook. We'll post it on our individual Facebooks, on our Instagram, everything. So we also were talking about doing like a Patreon, like mini episodes thing. So we might possibly do that. We'll figure that out, and we'll keep you guys posted on it. We haven't done it yet, but we are thinking about it. So
we're thinking about it. So are you interested?
If you're interested, you can let.
Well, do you want to give us money?
They most definitely can let us know if they're interested in like a mini episode.
I can talk to you like this.
I can't wait for us to spend more time together. Only 5 minutes of your day.
5 more minutes. Wait, you have definitely called those lines before, because that is too accurate. That's weird.
For only $200 a week, you can listen to us talk about your favorite. We can't wait to hear from you.
You listen to way too much late night radio. Oh my god!
I'm gonna have like a lot of video of your feet, aren't I?
Love lines. You're gonna have a lot of things to single out for us to talk about.
Right.
Okay.
All right, cool.
So thank you so much for joining us, and
come back again next
Dave.
week.
We love you.
And I'm happy we actually survived all 4 episodes.
Oh my god, we did! I didn't pass out. Woo!
No, I just mean this is a tough.
It is.
This is a tough bunch of shit to get through.
It is.
And we did.
It is.
Well, join us again next week. We'll be talking about some normal reality stuff. And then the following week, like we said, we'll get on to some documentary things. We'll keep you guys posted on what we're going to be watching, so you guys can follow along with us. And thanks so much for coming on. We love you. Yes.
Bye.
Okay, bye.